Good morning, Talkie Academy. This is Mr. Pasanakovic, and this is my tutorial using sequencing tips in Logic. Today we're going to look at cut and paste, we're going to look at looping, we're going to look at automation, and we're going to look at trimming as well. One of the things in Logic Pro X that I'd like you to do just before we even start is actually set our template up. So one of the first things you're likely to do in Logic Pro X is open up a brand new template. You'll either open up a template from File. Today I'm using a Let Go remix, not Let It Go. But you may well be doing this from Apple Loops today. So File, New, and you can create yourself a new track. Create that with audio tracks and as many as you need for this. I'd recommend probably during the time we've got maybe 3 would be appropriate. So click the number of tracks, right central and create. I'm going to be cancelling at the moment because I have these prepared here. What I'd then like you to do is move to the toolbar, and up on the toolbar you will find the cursor tool and usually the marquee tool as well. Make sure that marquee tool is selected on scissors. Now when you press Command with your on your keypad, the scissors tool will show instead of the marquee tool. This is a really useful shortcut for copying and pasting, and if you hover over any of the samples you'll see the scissors tool. If you hover over a place where there isn't a sample, the scissors tool won't appear, so it's got to be over a sample. Now when we want to click or to cut any of our samples, you just left click and the sample will cut. If you hold down left click, it's worth mentioning, a big line will come up which you will be able to see upon the timeline, and that will show exactly where you've cut your audio. So that was a little listen of Let Go. That's the original there. What we're going to do though is we're going to cut some of these vocals. I'm listening now to one of the main vocal refrains, and we want to cut that. To cut and choose a sample that we'd like to use, the first thing that we need to do really is get it accurate. Zoom in. Use the top right hand zoom icons to zoom right in. We're going to get a good snip and then copy and paste. Usually I want to take this to the start of the track, and what you might do is drag and drop. But then what we haven't done is we haven't duplicated the track. For this, let's move automation with it. Have a listen. Now that's great, really effective. But one of the things that we haven't done here is we haven't duplicated the track, we've just moved it from one place to another. It's worth mentioning at this point, if our sample wasn't accurate, you can hover over the bottom right and you can take it in, or you can take the sample out, as I'm showing you now on the screen. That will really help with the track lengths. Top right is not so good, that's the looping function. It's not what we need for this, that comes a little later, but bottom left. So we're going to move that back, we're going to pretend we haven't done it, and then take a bit of a shortcut. So again, Command, but this time Command C. Now that's copied our sample to the clipboard. We select exactly where we want to paste it, select the track you want to paste on, and Command V. That's Command V for paste. Now, you can hear that track there in both areas. So next up now, we're going to be looking a little bit on looping. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take a stem. We really like this small vocal refrain here, but it's a little bit quiet in the mix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that track, top left there, duplication, select the tracks that I want, which we've already cut up. And this time we're going to copy and paste them exactly as we have, with the automation data there as well. So copy, paste. In fact, this second track there, it's a little bit louder than the first. Have a listen there. So we really just want the second track. So we're going to hover over the top right of it and loop it out. Hang on, there's something I haven't looked at here. If you zoom in, you'll see that I haven't actually got the track snipped exactly to the bar. That would cause us timing problems later, so make sure that your samples are snipped to the bar. If we use our trimming tool as we have done earlier, we can get that to the bar line, and now it should be ready to go. We'll check the first area as well. So that's to bar 3, and let's make sure it starts on bar 2. Well, it's a little bit before, so we'll drag that right back to bar 2 and neaten things up a little bit there. Great. Now the vocal track is where we want it. We can use that top right hand icon to loop it across and to make it a little bit longer. So you just drag and drop it to the right, drag and drop it out. Great. Do you recall not long ago? Let's have a little bit of a listen with it all in. So again, works really nicely there, but it's still quite quiet. Well, this is where we can really bring in our next technique, which is automation, and we can automate that sound. Automation means to change, but automate that sound to make it a little louder. What I'm doing just up here, just before I do that, is I'm swiping on the time bar up the top. Now I'm dragging and dropping to create an everlasting loop. Now when we're using our automation, when we're trying to change the volumes, our everlasting loop here is going to keep things going round and round. Really important tool to use for mixing. It stops us from having to stop the track constantly and go back to the beginning. Great. Solo this track, have a listen in. It's there, but it's really quiet. So we'll click A for automation, and A will be the shorthand to bring up our automation screen. Now if you see, everything's gone a little bit darker. We can see these yellow lines everywhere, and they're the volume automation lines. So if we click anywhere, left click anywhere on this, and the automation lines will appear. We can drag these upwards, we can drag these downwards, and increase the volume or decrease the volume as we see fit. Here we're kind of increasing the volume just at the end, a nice big sweep and of increase of dynamics. But you can create brilliant fade outs using this automation technique, and you can smooth out samples as well if you need to. So have a listen there. You can also use the automation for any effects that you put on here. So in our effects channel we've got a reverb, and if we change from volume to reverb, we want to change the wet mix of the reverb, which is going to make the reverb more noticeable, and drag it up to about 60%. We might have a big reverb tail on the end of that, so it is a bit more cavernous and spills into the verse. Have a listen again. Great. So if we click A again, we'll be able to get off the automation screen. It's quite useful to get off the automation screen actually before you go and do any more editing, because otherwise you run the risk of changing any volume peaks that you might have gained. And further on we do our editing here. So I wanted to show you one that I've just done earlier, and this is my remix using all of those techniques before: looping, copying, pasting, automation and trimming. Thanks guys, and I hope you found that tutorial useful. I really look forward to listening to your remixes and your tracks as I go around today.